Cutting deep into a distant past, what's being sliced here is the hard, rocky exoskeleton of a common algae found all over the world, but especially in the far north. For several years, scientists from Canada and the US have been diving beneath the Arctic Ocean, looking for the pink glow of a living coralline algae. They weigh up to 70 kilos, and once wrestled up to the surface and into labs down south, they're laying bare centuries of the North's changing climate.
We can see these ring structures here that extend across the algae, and they're very similar to tree rings on land.
Dying algae lay down a new calcium layer each year, but the size depends on how much sunlight they've absorbed when the sea surface isn't frozen. A colder climate means more sea ice and less growth. For more than a century, though, as things warm up, the growth rings show an Arctic Ocean increasingly free of ice.
There were oscillations a bit in the sea ice, but overall, starting around 1850,
okay.
So which coincides with the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, but also which coincides with the end of a period that was called the Little Ice Age.
This is pure research, not activism, but the information feeds into work by other climate scientists that should tell us what to expect as the Earth gets warmer.
The longer perspective we can present and put into these climate models, the more accurately they can then predict what will happen in the future.
Arctic sea ice has melted rapidly in recent years, with some predicting an ice-free North Pole within a decade or two. The patterns found in the algae add to a growing body of information about the warming polar seas.
All of these changes to the local environment have impacts for local people in the Arctic, for wildlife, but also have impacts all around the world. And they're simply a sign that climate change has gone too far and we need to take action.
Nowhere on Earth is climate change more acute than in the Arctic. More research is needed, but governments like Canada's have made controversial cuts to science, even as the ice melts and the North warms up. Daniel Lack, Al Jazeera, Toronto.